If you're a college football fan or a football fan in general, you know that Colorado is on the rise. Last year they went 1-11, they gutted their entire roster and brought in Coach Prime. Between a whole new recruiting class and a bunch of transfers, this team is poised to make a push. So I imported their roster into Retro Bowl and tried to make a push for the national championship. The stage is set for this rebuild. It's time to take a look at the roster before we get into week 1 against Oregon State. And it's no surprise it starts with Deion's son, Shedeur Sanders, a very athletic quarterback prospect that continues to improve week by week. Now looking at the running back, Dylan Edwards, he's a very crafty running back out of the backfield, but really where his impact is felt is in the receiving game. Now moving on to the tight end, Michael Harrison, he's a decent athlete, but a good receiving option over the middle of the field. Speaking of the receiving game, we move on to Jimmy Horn Jr., the true #1 receiver for this Colorado Buffaloes team. Now while he's not related to the great Joe Horn, hopefully he can have an impact that's very similar. And you can't talk about impact without talking about the two-way player Travis Hunter. You see at the top left, wide receiver and defensive back. He was a 5-star recruit coming out of high school. Even at Jackson State, he got a lot of national recognition, and now he's under one of the biggest spotlights in the entire nation. Now moving on to the offensive line, Jack Bailey needs to be an absolute anchor for this team if Shedeur Sanders is going to be able to go through his progressions and continue to develop. Now moving on to the defense, it starts with Shane Cokes. He's going to be a two-gapping defensive tackle that hopefully gives our pass rusher some one-on-one opportunities. And I'm hoping that Marvin Ham II can become that great pass rusher for us. Now moving to the secondary, we already mentioned it before, but Travis Hunter is going to be our #1 cornerback. With him having so many snaps though, we need to make sure we're managing the fatigue throughout the season. Wrapping up the secondary is going to be Coach Prime's oldest son, Shiloh Sanders. He's a very disciplined safety with great size, and he's going to be a leader on the defense. Finishing up the roster is going to be our kicker, Jace Feely. He's got a great leg just like his dad. Hopefully he can clutch up when we call his number. Now that you've been introduced to the team, it's time to take on DJ Uiagalelei and the 18th ranked Oregon State Beavers. And if you guys are excited for college football and Retro Bowl, be sure to subscribe. Oregon State kicking off to Colorado. Can't wait for this matchup. On the first third down in the series, Shedeur Sanders takes it up the middle himself for the first down. 1st and 10 past the midfield mark. Shedeur Sanders going to air it out deep to Travis Hunter, and nobody is going to catch him. That was an absolute perfect pass in stride. Now 3rd and 4, and you see why Dylan Edwards is such a mismatch on those linebackers. 1st and 10 on the 20-yard line. Shedeur Sanders drops back, hits Travis Hunter on a comeback, and ooh, look at those crafty moves. Little juke left, juke right. Nobody knew where he was going. A big drive here could be huge, but unfortunately, it's a sack. Dylan Edwards not able to pick up the blitz, and on 4th and 2, Shedeur Sanders takes it up the middle himself and secures the first down. 1st and 10 here with a minute left in the half, and Shedeur Sanders puts a high-pointing pass to Jimmy Horn, who secures the catch. We got a little bit of toe drag swag here from Travis Hunter. Now on the 5-yard line, Shedeur Sanders going through his reads and eventually finds Travis Hunter in the end zone. Inside the 5-yard line, this ball's bouncing on top of the cornerback's head, and Travis Hunter secures the catch. And these third down conversions really tell the story of this game. Colorado able to sustain so many drives, and they secure the win against Oregon State by a wide margin, putting them on the map, hopefully getting them ranked for week 2. Player of the game is Shedeur Sanders with nearly 400 passing yards and 6 touchdowns. Now we've got to travel to Texas to take on one of the hardest opponents in the Big 12, the Longhorns. After a great return, Shedeur Sanders drops back and delivers a 25-yard strike to Jimmy Horn Jr. 1st and 10 now, Sanders going through his reads, finds Travis Hunter on a comeback, and they strike quickly. Now at midfield after the Longhorns punted away, Michael Harrison getting open on the linebacker for a 20-yard gain. The next play shows you why Travis Hunter is so versatile. Look at what he does with his hitch route. He makes everybody miss, gains 22 yards. 1st and 10, a quick strike to Jimmy Horn, slanting across the field. After a Texas touchdown, Colorado trying to mount one last drive. Deion going to keep the offense out, but unfortunately they're not able to connect. They're going to go to the locker room empty-handed. Is anybody going to play defense on these wide receivers for Colorado? I mean, look at this absolute bomb on 2nd and 15. Unfortunately, the drive stalls out and Jace Feely puts up 3. It's a 9-point game, and we're going to punt it away after this drop pass. And although the Longhorns were able to put a touchdown on the board, this first down seals the deal for us, 21-19. And after slugging it out with 2 ranked teams, we took on Wisconsin and won by 10, took on Florida the following week and won by 2 scores, and we went into Kentucky and won 40-24. Week 6 was a bye week for us. We were able to regroup, and now we are 5-0 taking on the Ole Miss Rebels. Ole Miss scores on the opening drive, and we need our offense to fire quickly. We get all the way to the 4-yard line, 4th and goal, and for some reason no one wants to cover Travis Hunter. Ole Miss rattles off another touchdown, and we get this nice strike before the first quarter. Starting off the second now, we get this nifty little move to Jimmy Horn Jr., who makes a couple of defenders miss. And inside the red zone, Shedeur Sanders wants it all, and he gets it to Travis Hunter. The offense gets great field position after a fumble on the kickoff, and the Rebels are trying to keep us out of the end zone, but eventually Dylan Edwards punches it in. And in this rainy, windy matchup, we go for 2. Ole Miss can't do anything with it. Now it's our turn to put another score on the board. This pass was intended for the receiver, but Michael Harrison didn't care. He took the touchdown for himself. We're up by 2 scores to start the fourth quarter, and unfortunately we can't get the first down, so we go for it on 4th and inches, and somehow this is not a first down. Retro Bowl, fix your forward progress on your quarterbacks, please. Ole Miss finds some life on offense, but even if the refs are against us, we're not going to let that bring us down. But as I mentioned, the rain causing issues now. Jimmy Horn fumbles the ball. I mean, we've seen this one before. All right, we're all knotted up here, 29-all. And all Shedeur Sanders is thinking is Brady mode. He's got to drive the offense down the field, conserve his timeouts, and score at least a field goal to win this game. The clock is winding down. Shedeur Sanders going through his reads, and the receiver drops the ball. Now 10 seconds left. We find Travis Hunter on a post route, call the timeout, and bring out the field goal unit. And we manage to escape 32-29. Here are the stats halfway through the season. Shedeur Sanders with 2,000 passing yards, 23 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. Dylan Edwards averaging 7 yards per carry on the ground with 6 touchdowns. Michael Harrison making contributions when he can. However, Travis Hunter with 53 receptions, 867 yards, 7 touchdowns, as well as 52 tackles, 2 interceptions, and a forced fumble. He's clearly pushing for that Heisman Trophy, and at this rate, I think he might get it. After our Ole Miss matchup, we took on a Utah team that is kind of falling apart. 46-22 is the final. Shedeur Sanders has his best game of the season with 489 passing yards and 6 touchdowns. He gets a well-deserved arm strength upgrade, and we move on to week 9. And we take down the unranked Sooners 48-45. And in week 10, we took on the Spartans and took them down in East Lansing 28-10. And the atmosphere was incredible. The Colorado fans truly travel everywhere. Now we take on the Volunteers in week 11. We're both undefeated, and this is going to be the best matchup of the season. Tennessee kicking this one off to Colorado, and this is truly going to be the final push for the playoffs as we get a giant run from Dylan Edwards to start this matchup. He's still going down the sideline past the midfield mark. Who is going to catch up to him? He makes a swipe over, and he's still going. Now Shedeur Sanders delivers a bullet pass to Jimmy Horn Jr., who takes it down to the 2. And Travis Hunter on the comeback and the natural pick gets the touchdown. We are not done yet as Travis Hunter takes this post route all the way to the house. Tennessee couldn't do anything with the ball, and they're going to regret it. After another Tennessee punt, we get into field goal range, and we push this field goal wide right. Tennessee puts a touchdown on the board finally, and Dylan Edwards coughs up the ball. Fortunately, Travis Hunter gets an interception, and on 3rd and inches, Michael Harrison goes long down to the 3-yard line. 1st and goal, and we punch it in with Dylan Edwards. Up by 2 scores here, and Shedeur Sanders sails the pass over the receiver's head into the Volunteers' hands. Tennessee able to put some points on the board, but it doesn't matter. Dylan Edwards slashes through the defense and taunts while he makes his way to the end zone. It's a 3-point ball game here in the 4th quarter, and Shedeur Sanders misses the pass, and unfortunately, we're having to punt the ball away. But Shiloh Sanders saves the day with an interception, and we just have to run this clock out. And on the first play with the ball, Dylan Edwards calls his own number, dials the voicemail, and gets into the end zone for the score. 33-yard rush. Sanders takes a knee, and we win the game by 10. In week 12, we took on Iowa and won by 20 points, and in the final week of the regular season, we take on the undefeated #1 Georgia Bulldogs. And we will be taking them on in the next video, so if you guys enjoy this video, please be sure to like, subscribe, and comment if you want to see part 2. It'll have the final week of the regular season, the Big 12 championship, and potentially the Final Four, hopefully getting that national championship win.